proceedings and make decisions. Lord, we ask you guide us, give us the wisdom to do the right thing. Also, thank you for this season that we celebrate the birth of your only Son. Lord, we thank you and praise you in everything. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the public hearing and work session. I'd like to call December 2nd, 2025 meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda that we have tonight is our minute approval. November the 18th regular meeting and November the 20th special call meeting. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 18th and November 20th minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Show of hands.
Mayor, I wasn't here, so I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes from Lee.
All right, now we begin with the reports. Financial Department report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the financial report today, I'll review the preliminary financial report through November 30th, pointing out any significant items worth noting. Please note that this is just a preliminary report and does not capture the entire month's activities. I will start with the city's main operating fund, the general fund. At this point in the year, we are 42% through the fiscal year, and we have 33% of total revenues received. Tax revenues are pacing as expected at 41% of the annual budget. Property taxes have started to trickle in and should pick up through December. Property tax bills have been mailed with taxes due December 15th. Licenses and permits are reported at 23% collected. This is due to building permits that slow down in winter months and business license fees that won't come in until spring of 2026. Charges for services are currently at 39% of the budget from the community center, vendor fees, police fees, and downtown garbage revenues. Fines and forfeitures, which are attributable to municipal court revenues, are at 39% of the budget, and miscellaneous revenues, which is mostly from rental revenue, is at 28% of the budget. For general fund expenditures, most of all departments are on pace or below their year-to-date budgeted expenditure levels, with a few exceptions. Both legislative committees and parks have exceeded their budget year-to-date. For legislative committees, this is primarily due to the events that have already taken place in summer and fall, as well as spending by the tree committee. For the Parks Department, it is due to the recent land purchase, and a budget amendment will come mid-year to capture this activity. It is also worth noting that the year-to-date surplus reflected in the inspections and code enforcement departments is not representative of actual, but rather a timing of invoices not yet captured. Additional expenditures will be recorded as staff continue to process November invoices. Overall, general fund expenditures for the fiscal year are currently at 36% of the budget, which is on pace for the year. The SPLOS fund is reporting 17% of revenues received through September, and the T-SPLOS revenues are at 29% of the budget. Keep in mind these revenues come in a 2-month lag from when they are collected. For the utility fund, revenues are doing well at 70% of the budget. The excess is due in part to sewer capacity sold that was unbudgeted, as well as water taps in excess of budgeted levels year to date. The utility departments combined are reporting expenditures at 25% of the annual budget, which is due primarily to invoices not received and processed, applicable to the month of November. No significant activity is worth noting at this time. That concludes the November financial report. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions, council?
Nope.
All right,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be giving the November report from the 1st to the 30th. We had a total of 447 area checks, 136 incidents, 13 accidents, 25 arrests, 161 traffic stops, 69 citations, 101 reports taken. I worked a Veterans Day event at Bethlehem Christian. Corporal Knight, she worked the Veterans Day event at Bear Creek Middle School. We also worked the city event with the mayor hosting it. Then also on the 22nd of November, I went to PetSmart out in Beaufort to fill a trunk. That's the photo on the left. And then just this past weekend, the Christmas in Statham, that's a picture in the daylight of the gingerbread house. We counted, I gave out 437 stuffed animals.
Wow.
It's also Christmas season and the holiday. If you see something, say something. If you plan on going out of town, please stop by and fill out an extra patrol sheet. Also advise everybody, your neighbors, if you get a brand new TV, please don't put the TV box outside by the trash. At least try to break it down the best you can. Let's not advertise what you're getting, because some people don't mind taking what other people have worked hard for. Any questions of the police department? Thank you.
Thank you for everything y'all have done.
Yes, ma'am.
Public Works.
Good evening, how are y'all?
Good.
So for the month of November, submitted all our monthly reports for the water system to the EPD and monthly water samples. Continues a large project locating along 316. We did receive back the relocation for the utilities, the plans for that. They had a third-party engineer design that, and we got that back and approved that, so they will be starting the relocation of the utilities that are in the way within the next month or so.
Awesome.
That'll be just for the section at Barber Creek and Craft. Should be expecting Bethlehem Road any day now, and then we'll go through those and approve those relocation plans and get that started. EMI continued working on the sanitary sewer evaluation. We performed some minor valve exercising throughout the water system. We also had a crucial water valve installed. It's what they call an inserter valve on First Street area. We replaced a leaking and non-operational fire hydrant at the intersection of Atlanta Highway and Price Street. We cleaned up around Veterans Park. Took down and disassembled the Halloween decorations, and then we set up Veterans Day items around the city, installed Christmas decorations, patched some potholes around the city. We'll be working on Atlanta Highway within the next week or so, doing some more patching there. We prepped all the city buildings for the cold weather. We replaced north of 50 non-reading customer water meters.
Wow.
Assisted in the several events we've had here lately, the Veterans event and the Christmas event. And we received some final quotes for work to be performed at Robert Bridges Community Center and Hillman Community Center. So I'll be reviewing those pretty soon. And we corrected some minor issues on our city buildings that were discovered when the fire marshal's office done their inspection, their yearly inspection. Got all that up to par. So, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Any update on the permitting for the spring?
They are still working for permitting. EMI, I think EMI has submitted the plans to EPD, I believe, and they are sitting at EPD for review.
Okay.
I will touch base with them this week. I've actually got to make a phone call out to their engineers anyway. I'll get with them and see where we're at.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think we're still holding to the timeline of hoping to be out to bid first of the year sometime for that project.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any further questions? All right.
Thank
you,
y'all.
Brett. Okay. I guess it's time for my report. I have attended the Literacy Board meeting. I was at the Veterans Day event. It went very, very well, and thank you, Christine, for all your work and help with that. I think it turned out very, very nice. I attended the 5th District Mayor's meeting on the 13th. I attended the Reach Scholarship event at Bexar County School System on the 17th. Helped with the food distribution from the Statham Sunflower Festival. Attended the board retreat for the Bexar County Chamber of Commerce, and also was here for the Christmas tree lighting, which was really well done, and thank you again, Christine, for that. I did want to point out something. I received a phone call on Friday from Carl Fisher from the American Legion, and they had been given the money for the 2 plaques for the Blue and Gold Star, and they were real excited. The donation was given and presented by Cable East Incorporated. So I'm extremely excited about this, and I know that Tim was involved with that as well, and I want to thank him for that too. So we're going to have the markers placed, and Brett will be doing that as well. So that was a very unexpected phone call that I received on Friday, but it was exciting. So that is my mayor's report. Any committee reports?
Mayor, I'll give the tree committee report. We are going to do a plant sale. The distribution will be on Saturday, January 31st. We're still working out the logistics. We'd like to do it outdoors. We would like to have like an event, 4-H extension, organizations like that come out and help. The cutoff to order will be January 23rd. There'll be 3-gallon pots, $15, and we will give a selection of 10 different trees when we put everything out there, which should be soon. We're going to try and get it, we will get it into the December's water bill. We'll also get it on the tree committee's Facebook page and then other Statham pages. Leaning on what the mayor said about the Blue and Gold Star monuments, they have been ordered. We've been told it's going to take about 28 weeks, so we don't really know when they'll come in. And according with the conversation we had a couple weeks ago, they are going to donate them to the city. So then we'll just put them out there. Finally, very sadly, in 2 weeks will be Christine's last meeting. We'll have a reception right next door after that Tuesday's meeting. We have been kicking around. It'll probably just be desserts, finger foods, whatever. Maybe we'll get Eddie's Barbecue to cater it. We don't know. But everyone's invited. It'll be after the 6:30 voting session in 2 weeks. And that's it.
Thanks, Tim. Way to embarrass me. I guess as far as my committee report, I just want to thank everybody for the Christmas event. I think it went really well. The city staff, Public Works, the police department, and especially my event committee. They've worked really hard these past 2 years. We put on a lot of events. Most of them have been very successful and budget friendly. We've had a lot of community support, people coming out from our community and visiting from other communities. So I hope that, we've represented Statham well. So we just want to thank everybody for that.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for all your help. Okay. I now need a motion to go into public hearing.
Make a motion to go into public hearing.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, show of hands. Okay. What?
Lee?
Lee,
Did
Lee, you still there?
Oh, yes, sorry.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to go over and review the proposed local homestead exemption that we are having the second hearing today for. We held a first public hearing on November 20th, and had a decent attendance there, and so I'm appreciative to see some population here this evening. Obviously, we want to get the word out about this local homestead exemption. So I will review what is being proposed and go over in summary form, what's involved and how you would apply for and receive this proposed local homestead exemption. So the City of Statham is proposing a local homestead exemption that is a combination of two exemptions: a homestead exemption for homeowners age 62 or older in the amount of $20,000, and a local homestead exemption for homeowners age 67 or older in the amount of $30,000, which is an increase of $10,000 from the original $20,000 that you receive at age 62. A local homestead exemption is a dollar value that reduces the homeowner's assessed value, that in turn reduces the amount of tax that's due to the city. In this case, the local homestead exemption applies to your local jurisdiction, or here to the City of Statham's municipal taxes. As everyone is aware, you receive a separate property tax bill for the City of Statham's property taxes, and that is where your local homestead exemption will be presented as you are granted the exemption. In order to be eligible for the local homestead exemption, it is senior-based, so the homeowner must be 62 or 67 to apply for the applicable exemption by January 1st of the tax year. Additionally, the homeowner must be on the deed, or the property owner of that legal residence here in the state of Georgia, or City of Statham, and they also must be their primary residence. So what does that look like? How do you obtain the local senior exemption? So each January 1st, and the deadline is typically March 31st. So each spring, as you would obtain the age of 62 by January 1st, you come into the City of Statham City Hall, or can download from the city's website the homestead exemption application. With that, you will provide the required information, who the primary legal residence is, your address, all of that pertinent information, and return the application to the City of Statham City Hall with a photo ID. Once the city goes through the process of validating that you are eligible for the local senior exemption, you will receive confirmation of eligibility, and from that point forward, no further action is required. Once you retain that initial eligibility at age 62, the city will internally track. Obviously, you don't age backwards, so it's a one-time application. And when you're 67 and you roll over after those 5 years, you will automatically receive the additional increase of the $10,000 at age 67. So it is a one-time application, and then the city will manage that moving forward. If you did receive a handout on the back table there coming in, there is a calculation example at the bottom of the handout, just to illustrate for folks how this homestead exemption will be applied. So on the left side of the table, you have a calculation before the exemption, and on the right side, you have after the exemption. So in our example, if you have a fair market value of $255,000, in the state of Georgia, your assessed value is 40%, which calculates to $102,000. The homestead exemption for the state is unchanged. That will still be applied as it always has been, the $2,000. And so if you're a homeowner at age 62, you would then additionally apply a $20,000 homestead exemption. So the taxable value, instead of $100,000, becomes $80,000. And when you apply the millage rate, your tax due becomes $532, which is down from $665. This produces a savings for a 62-year-old senior in the city of Statham of $133 a year. And then, of course, you apply the $30,000 after the 67 years of age, and your savings would increase. So that is how the calculation for the local homestead exemption is applied. We've discussed the process for how you would apply at the one time for the senior exemption. and what the eligibility parameters of that are. So I believe I've covered everything as it stands, and I welcome any questions from City and Council, and then certainly from the public.
Any questions, It's a great sheet as well. Anybody from the public would like to come forward to speak on behalf? Any questions? Okay. Anybody that would like to come forward and speak against? Please come forward. Okay. You like it? Okay, and what we need to also say is once this is voted, if this is voted on, this has to go to the legislature. So this will not begin this coming year. It will be the next following year after it goes through the legislature. Just FYI. Okay, then without anything being heard, I'd like to make a motion to come out of public hearing.
Make a motion to come out of public hearing.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, show of hands.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is discussion items. Proposal for professional services for water and sewer system. Brett?
Y'all get to hear me talk again. So I'm sure y'all have it in front of you guys. What you'll have is a proposal from EMI, our engineer, to update our standard specifications and details for water and sewer system construction. All right, so what that is EPD in the state, they require us to have construction details that's consistent with theirs. It shows, and we got to meet the minimum standards for water system construction, sewer system construction, and it's got to meet those minimum standards. So, as you see in their write-up, our water system details are from 2001. They're nearly 25 years old, and we have no sewer system construction details. So my recommendation, and I reached out to EMI as well, let's update those construction details. I've been through this before at other municipalities. It's a fairly simple process. No need to recreate the wheel. I know what's expected from EPD, EMI does as well. They work great with the state. They will essentially create the standards in different aspects of a water system and the construction of a water system and a sewer system. Present them to me, we'll go over back and forth over some items, and then they'll present it to EPD. Well, EPD will approve that. Along with that, they'll reach out to EPD for delegation for the sewer system, since we don't have standards now for the sewer system. Once we submit that and they approve it, that'll give us the ability to to approve and deny plans for sewer as well. So essentially, and I can provide y'all with a write-up, but these are to ensure construction follows specific quality control standards, including compliance with equipment manufacturers, different types of pipes, sizes, materials, how they lay stuff and construct the system. It gives you every detail and spec you would need, so there's no unanswered question of how a developer or a company should do what they need to do when they install a water or sewer system. And it's something that is mandated by the state and that we have to abide by. So like I said, they recommend that we create or adopt a set of specific standards that meet all the EPD requirements for our municipality, and that's just what this is. And that's a proposal from EMI to do so.
Does this become like part of the code?
Yes, it's not any kind of like a state code or a muni code, like a building code, but it's a part of Environmental Protection Division's It's to meet the 1974 Act, the Clean Water Act. We have to have these set of standards and details for the construction of a water system and a sewer system.
It's kind of like the NFPA codes that
Yes, correct.
buildings have to meet for the fire marshals and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all to meet all the state and federal laws for the Georgia Safe Drinking Water Act and the Water Quality Control Act.
Okay.
This is going to apply to over the park, the water source, the building.
It's going to apply to the whole system, the whole city.
Yeah.
So any new construction that comes in, any new developments that comes in, anything that we update or replace, we have to meet these standards and details. And if it's a developer coming in building a large development or a commercial development, whatever it may be, they know exactly what the city of Statham expects, what type of material, pipe to use, down to how deep to bury that pipe, even to the manufacturer of a particular fire hydrant that we recommend or we require them that they need to use. So it gives them every detail of how to put it in and even to what brand materials to use. And they have to follow those rules. So, and that's, like I said, that's for any kind of construction or replacement, anything that comes in, in the future. Water or sewer.
Brett, after the city gets certified, do they come back every number of years to recertify it? Or
No, but it is a recommendation that we update our standards and specifications as needed to reflect any changes in EPD requirements. And as you can see, that's what we're trying to do here, because we hadn't updated them in 25 years. So that's, but
at that point,
it is a suggestion by EPD that we routinely update
Right.
or, modify our specifications and details.
Gotcha. So we just follow the guidelines after.
Exactly. Correct.
Certified. Okay.
It's one of those things that you go back and look at.
Yeah.
I see the hourly rate here.
Yeah, so this is a what you see from EMI, their proposal, that's their standard
Yeah. So,
procedure they send to all clients.
okay,
They just provide that with
what's
every
the
proposal.
Proposed amount of time.
No, in the proposal, you'll see it says, we propose to complete the above stated scope of work at an hourly rate not to exceed 10,000.
Okay.
So like I said, they will not be recreating the wheel. There is plenty of that already completed. And stuff that I have as well that could just be plugged in and played. Kind of like how we're going over a personnel policy. Stuff's already in place and we can, you're not going to spend 200 hours building these standards and details.
We're just updating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. But yeah, they have to, in the proposal, it says to not exceed 10,000. Any questions?
Any more questions? Okay.
Well, thank
Thanks,
y'all. If I can send y'all any information on what all this looks like, I know that probably sounds like a bunch of this and that, but I can send y'all any kind of information y'all require.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank y'all.
Next on the agenda is Statham Library. Yes, just make sure you speak into the microphone.
Janet Williams, I'm representing the Statham Library. This is our quarterly report. Most of my statistics are just from October, since we haven't had time to get our November ones from the regional office yet. So October presented us with a circulation. Our circulation of books and movies was 4,595. Library visitors, 2,604. New patrons, 44. Event participants, 405. Computer sessions, 2,948. We are second highest in the region libraries for Wi-Fi use
Awesome.
over these bigger libraries. Passports issued 100, and that's the same for November, and we expect that to pick up significantly after the first of the year, though.
And we're the only library that does that, right? The passports?
Winder never did it.
Auburn?
Nicholson, one of the smaller
Okay.
ones does it, Nicholson.
Yeah,
Nicholson,
okay.
I believe. Yeah. Okay, some of our events from October were, of course, Halloween related, and one of the our annual Spooktacular. Our annual Spooktacular event, we were visited by Jack and Sally, characters from the Nightmare Before Christmas. We had several pumpkin-related crafts throughout the October for children through adults. We had a 3-week quilting class where they made completed table runners, and that was for adults. And it was a nice fall table runner that they created. The UGA entomology department came and brought their bugs for Science on Saturday. And we had our very first yarn swap. Everybody came in and donated yarn that they didn't want to keep. And then on a certain day, everybody else came in and took whatever they wanted. It was great. It was well participated. And but what we had left over, it just so happened that a teacher from Westside Middle School who has a knitting and crochet club, sponsors a knitting and crochet, we gave all the leftovers to her.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she was very happy about that. Make sure I get all the stuff. Like I said, we don't have all the statistics for November, but we did have the event participants as 724, and of course the Grinch is responsible for that. We had almost 500 people walk through the door Saturday night for the
Awesome.
Grinch and Cindy
Awesome.
Lou Who, and they took about 150 pictures with the Grinch. Passports issued, like I said, was 100 again in this month, but we don't have any other statistics about that. In November, we sponsored a wreath making class. We have 2 of these during the year, one in fall, one in the spring, and that's probably our most popular adult program that we do. We had pumpkin paintings, tea making classes, and the Science on Saturday this month was Mr. Matt Smith. Y'all might know him. He has the big rock collection, and he usually comes to the schools, but he brought his collection to the library one day for us to see. Staff members, Ashley Tomlin Chambers participated in the Barra Bold event held at Barra Arts and Sciences on the 13th. And she was also a facilitator for the annual spelling bee at Bear Creek Middle on the 14th. The library also hosted Future Teachers of America Club from Bear Creek, who came and helped out at one of our weekly story times. Of course, we participated in the City of Stathem's tree lighting and holiday fun held on last Saturday. And while they were enjoying Santa and Mrs. Claus, and the bubbles looked like snow. My grandkids came and they loved that snow. The library hosted the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who from 4 to 6, and that's when we had almost 500 people here. Hopefully you have the calendars for December and January showing our activities that are coming up. And we look forward to beginning our new adult nonfiction book club at first meetings in January. and Tim Torelli is heading that up.
Yes, that sounds very interesting. I'm very intrigued
I
with that.
think you might like that. Okay, I think that's all I have to present. Hopefully you have your December and January calendars with you.
Thank you so much. Y'all do such a great job
We try.
and
We're
bringing
so-
people from many parts,
From
not
other-
just
yeah.
Statham, but from many parts. So
Our kids' programs on Mondays, they're every Monday and Wednesday. Our average attendance on those is anywhere from 30 to 50 every time for little toddlers and things.
y'all are doing a great job. Thank you so
Yeah, you
much.
are.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Williams, I have a quick question about the park passes. Do you guys issue the yearly? Is it just a day park pass that you guys issue? What do you guys, I just see them on the calendar here. I don't know.
It is it's checked out for a week,
Oh, a week, okay.
yeah, and it has one renewal, so actually you can keep it 2 weeks,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's good for every park in the
Any
state?
park in Georgia,
Wow, very cool. I didn't know you guys did that. That's great.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hidden gem. Go to the library. Thank you. Employee handbook revisions.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the second appearance of this item before the City Council. As y'all know, we have undertaken a comprehensive rewrite and revision of the personnel policy and procedures for the city. As y'all know, I sent an email yesterday afternoon. There were a number of changes that were discussed and requested, and I've done my best to try to highlight those. The version that you have attached to your packet has those proposed discussion points highlighted in yellow. I think probably the fastest way to go through this is for me to go by those, explain kind of the concept behind them, what was discussed, and then y'all are welcome to ask any questions, or if y'all have any specific input y'all want to go ahead and announce, I can make the changes so that we could, in theory, get this ready for a possible vote in this month. If not, we can roll to next month if we still need to discuss these a little bit more. The first change that needs to be identified is in the probationary period section, which is section 3, bullet point 4. The original draft had it so that health insurance benefits would not be available to an employee during the probationary period. The concern that was raised, and this really is specifically addressed towards the police department, obviously that's a very high-risk job, and so asking someone to engage in law enforcement work for 90 days without any kind of health insurance coverage could potentially impact our ability to recruit quality candidates, and obviously it makes us a little less competitive in the employment market with some of our fellow employers in the vicinity. So the thought was, while other things like sick time accrual, bank, or other benefits may not be eligible, we should probably consider allowing health insurance to be available immediately upon start of employment. If y'all have any questions or thoughts, you can share them now, or y'all can just reserve and email me or after the meeting. So but please interrupt me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. I'm sorry? It is now, but not under again, we're talking about the draft. And the draft that we had said not available until after the end of the probationary period. Next change is on section 4, compensation under the pay procedures. I know that this has been a discussion point. We'll start with number 2, which was the salary adjustments. We had talked about a maximum salary increase for all employees of 5%, and that includes COLA. So it'd be if COLA was 3%, then in addition to the 3, you could get an additional 2. The concern is that the merit that a lot of employees may warrant higher degrees of merit, and so the suggestion was that we should separate that out so that it can be COLA plus up to 5. Rather than a hard ceiling of 5, it can be COLA plus 5. And again, that just goes to wanting to retain employees and give department heads flexibility with respect to, rewarding good job performance and keeping people, keeping quality employees. That was the concern that was stated. The next change was in the pay procedures. There was some very strong feeling that even though department heads are all salaried, meaning they don't need to record their times, they're paid a flat rate regardless of the number of hours worked. There was a strong opinion that those timesheets, that they did need to produce timesheets, they did need to show how often they worked for accountability purposes, and the request was to add that those timesheets be completed and turned in and approved by the mayor by the Monday following the last business day of the pay period. The other change that was requested was, and this is really the most substantial change, was to the table for the accrual of PTO. And let me give you a little bit of history so that you can understand these numbers, because every one of these numbers increased by a fairly significant amount, and Cheryl can has a cheat sheet. So as y'all may recall, I believe it was in 2022, thank you. There was a change. We abandoned the idea of vacation accrual plus sick accrual in favor of PTO. Just kind of all lump it into one. And based on the math that Cheryl has kind of audited, when that happened, even though it was stated multiple times, the intent was we do not want anyone to lose it, mathematically it worked. It was not a better arrangement for our employees. They actually were accruing less time off than they would have under the older policy. So instead, the focus was almost on don't lose what you have, and it wasn't on making sure you accrued at the same rate that you did previously through the thing. So Cheryl ran the numbers, and based on that math, this table now reflects what would have been the old sick and vacation amounts together. And we've adjusted the annual accrual hours and the maximum rollover amount to reflect that adjustment. There's way too many decimal points for me to go through every single one of these, but just know that the hope and the intent was to make sure that we go back to the pre-2022 framework, which was to the benefit of employees. They got higher accrual rates, they accrued PTO quicker under the old framework than they do now, and we're trying to right that old wrong. Also, there's an introduction of a new table for department heads specifically, and that's below that. And I think the idea being that to recognize that department heads, unlike some other employees, whenever there's a hole, the department head is the one that has to fill it. And so the reflection is that they don't get to take PTO as much as they prefer, and that their accrual needs to reflect the degree of their job and the amount of time that they spend working for the city. We discussed via email the change based on Councilmember Torelli's question about the cash out option and the difference between applying it to the annual rollover number versus the annual accrual number, which are two different things. And again, the idea is we want to change it to minimize the potential financial impact to the city of cashing out a higher number, and also to, again, further the policy that I know Councilmember Patterson has stated multiple times. We really want to encourage our employees to take their PTO, enjoy time with their family away from the job that's important, both from a physical as well as a mental health perspective. I'm trying to think. I think those are the biggest changes. I'm trying to think. Did I miss anything, Cheryl? Oh, there is the introduction of the severance pay provision. That is in the last page of this. And that was just a policy that was put into play, or that was requested only for instances where someone is terminated without cause. Again, I think it's more of a help to promote and to recruit and attract the highest quality applicants possible. Gives them a little bit of assurance, because again, we don't do employment agreements with our department heads. And so sometimes these types of provisions would be found in those employment agreements. And so incorporating them into our personnel policy would give some level of comfort and again, make that job more attractive without the need for some kind of written employment agreement going forward. So, and I apologize that it wasn't until yesterday that I could get that to you. I know that there's probably a lot of questions that y'all have and maybe you need time to digest. So if y'all want to digest them and then email me questions, or if you have any that you come to mind today, I'm happy to answer them, or Cheryl can answer them as well.
I'm not crazy about that severance pay. I don't understand 16 weeks. I mean, we're a right-to-work state. How do you define no cause? But also, how about 1 week for each year that you've worked here? I mean, just to give somebody 16 weeks, that's 4 months' pay. And I don't know. And this COBRA that's referenced, it's not automatically given by the employer. The individual has the opportunity to go into that, but it's at the employee's expense. It's not at the city's expense. It'd be at the employee's expense to opt into that health insurance. From what I might be wrong, but that's what I looked up, that COBRA Act. But also it says continuing of health coverage provisions. How long is that for? Is it for eternity? Is it go down to the family? I mean, do you just set it up for 3 months, 4 months? How can you, I mean, there has to be a deadline. I would think unless the act specifically states, which I didn't see, you know, maybe the city needs to establish, you can opt in at your expense for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the answer to your question is, it's been a while since I looked at it. Last time, I don't know why, but in my mind, I do believe there is a cutoff of COBRA built into that statute. But the city also has the right to specify a lesser time frame if it wants to. Okay. For example, it could coincide with the amount of weeks of pay built into the severance. Right. And again, I want to stress, this was a proposal that was asked to be drafted and included. Right. So take it as just that. Yeah. It's not something obviously written in stone. So as I understand it, and I'm happy if you want me to, I can take a stab at amending it to reflect some of the things you said. For example, 1 week for every year of employment with the city. Yeah. And then maybe COBRA and I want to address one other point about payment. Who pays that premium? COBRA eligibility to follow the same amount of time as the number of weeks severance pay. So we could do that as well.
And it seems like that act gives the perspective, or gives the ex-employee like 60 days to make that decision. It's a decision. It's not automatic for them. They have 30 days or 60 days to make that decision if they're going to opt in.
It is elective, because COBRA is a very expensive policy.
It is.
So I can get with Jody on this.
The insurance manager.
Yeah. But COBRA normally is an option. They don't, I mean.
It is. And the other part is about the payment of the premiums. Yes. So you can elect in and you can pay it. What was written as the proposal was, and this is entirely the prerogative of the city if it wants to agree to this, it pay that premium on behalf of. If that's not agreeable, then we can just strike that and just say the employee can choose their COBRA coverage and pay that premium. Right. Okay. So we can do that.
Right.
Lee, did I misstate anything that you want to clarify?
So they got 60 days to elect it, and they got 45 days to pay. And federal law requires them to be able to elect it 18 months unless there's a death in the spouse. It has 36 months to continue COBRA. But yeah, like I said, I can call you tomorrow and go over this with you if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. And again, I want to stress this also. If the will of the council is we just don't want the severance policy at all, it can be struck, and we don't have to go through revisions. But I defer entirely to y'all.
Yeah, most of the COBRA, it falls on the former employee to pay, and there's a 2% add-on fee to cover that, but I would not advise the city to
And that also could, I mean, if it's at the employee's expense, then it's almost, the time doesn't really matter. It can be however long they want to elect to stay on, and
Right.
it just, whatever the statute allows.
Right.
So that solves that problem altogether.
Yes.
Right.
So then, I mean, I will go ahead and make a change of saying Cobra's, they can elect Cobra at their own expense, and the severance would be 1 week for every year of service. And again, to answer the fundamental question that you asked before, the other places in the policy discuss what is and is not cause. Cause is any violation of the employee personnel handbook. So
Okay.
that would be easy to, I think, resolve. Now, being a lawyer, anybody can argue whether she was validly for or with or without cause.
Right.
That's how, I guess, we keep our livelihood. But I think that we've done a pretty good job in the personnel policy of describing what would be fireable offenses and not fireable offenses.
Going back to the department heads, I'm not for the department heads getting a separate PTO. They're employees just as the same as the regular employees. It should all be the same. But that's just me.
All right. Any other questions, inputs? Again, it's kind of at the will of the council. Y'all tell me what y'all want. I'll make whatever changes are appropriate, and we'll continue to progress in the process. So, I mean, it's the council. We've obviously had 2 different hearings on this. As far as approval goes, I'll make these changes tonight and circulate them, and it'll just follow the normal process of if a council members want it on the agenda for vote, it will be, and if it's not, it will just roll till we're ready.
It's not a document that we need to rush into. I think we need to take our time and make sure that we go through it, you know, and everybody understands it and agrees on it. So I don't want to see us rush it. So that's just me.
Cody, I have a question on the voluntary leave bank. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So this was actually borrowed from the Gwinnett County Public School System. So what that is oftentimes, especially in larger organizations, and in organizations that don't offer extended things like sick leave or paid FMLA leave, things like that, a sick leave bank is created where employees can accrue this sick leave, and it can be used by them or it can be donated to other employees as needed. But it is not a compensable benefit upon expiration of employment, meaning it doesn't, accrued PTO gets paid out when an employee retires, resigns, or is terminated. This would not be. It's there if it's needed, and it can be, again, spread around as needed. So if, you know, a member of City Hall goes on maternity leave or has a medical issue and needs to use sick leave, but they don't have it. If a probationary period employee who's doing a great job for the first 6 months but doesn't have enough sick leave accrued, and they have a child at home that is, you know, down for a week with the flu, it can be donated, and the city can kind of help out, if you will. So it's just an additional benefit that the city employees can have that insulates them against those kinds of events. And again, I think it's a recognition that the city doesn't have the resources, frankly, to offer significant long-term disability or even short-term disability.
So on this, you're saying that they have their PTO, they get to a certain amount, and then they can just say that they're going to get voluntary leave?
Yes, but there's limits on the amount of accrual, obviously. I mean, unless the employees donate to them.
So Christine, what it is anything over your accrual, like you have a maximum accrual, if you hit that, that would roll into that sick bank. We're not eligible to offer long-term disability to the employees. So if someone were to get sick, they could go into the bank. That's the only reason they can use it. It is about being, sick. It's a sick bank. So this is one of the ways that we can help and aid a situation that we can't offer to them. But this is a way that we can offer them to start collecting something just in case.
So would people normally take their PTO first and
Yeah,
then take the sick leave after
That,
they
that-
ran out of PTO?
that's correct.
And this would require some sort of verification, like a doctor's note or.
Yeah, so basically, really, what happens is someone would be at a zero base. They've used all their PTO. But during the time of accruing, they had some accrued into the sick bank. So if something were to happen, they would have to use their PTO. Then the offset would be they could go in their sick bank. For example, where I used to work, someone ended up with cancer. And we had that, and she got to go in that. Plus, like Jody said, from our sick banks, we were able to give to that person to help them through.
And to answer your question, this does not supplant all other procedures in the handbook. So the employee handbook says if you're going to be out, I believe it's longer than 2 days, we can require a doctor's note or medical certification.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not abusing something like that. They run out of PTO and they want to go on a 7-day cruise and they've got 2 days of time off or something.
No, it's only to be used for that specific purpose.
And you have to be at zero on everything else.
So if an employee's spouse got cancer, and the employee needed to be home, would that apply?
Well, it would apply, but they would have to go on Family Leave Act first, and they would have to be at a zero base into their PTO. So if your family leave, with our policy, you have to use up all this time, and then you can start your family leave time. If you have sick time, you could use that before that to let that family leave time be more, because during family leave, you're just guarding someone's job for so many weeks. So it is a nice aid to give longevity before you have to use the family leave act.
But to answer your question, yes, because we define that the sick leave policy applies to illnesses of any immediate family member.
And you would also simply lose that time if you don't get sick or if you never have to use it. It just simply goes away
That's right.
after you leave.
And it's also subject to its own limits.
Right.
Like there's a certain accrual cap on that as well. So it's
Right.
not like you're accruing unchecked amounts of vacation or sick bank.
Any more questions? Okay, is there anybody signed up for the citizen input?
Yes, Mayor, we have 3 speakers. Michelle Smith.
I'm going to read this, okay. Each speaker shall speak clearly and shall provide their name and address prior to addressing council. Citizen comment shall be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per person, and no speaker may speak more than once. Speaker shall address the city council as a body rather than any particular member, and shall refrain from personal attacks against any other person, and refrain from foul language. The presiding official may limit or refuse a speaker the right to continue if the speaker continues to violate these rules of decorum. Now you can come.
Hello, My name is Michelle Smith, go by Mickey. I live at 171 2nd Street. I wanted to come up here in regards to the event committee and state that I can't do it. That the one thing I would like to say is what is going to happen to the event committee once our event committee leader is not going to be there? Is it going to continue next year? And who is going to run it? And are you going to put out information in regards to that so people will understand where it's going as such? Because as of this day today, as a volunteer, I have no idea who or what is going to be of that situation. So it would be interesting to find out beforehand so you could make some decisions on what to do and so forth. The other conversation too is, are you, of course this is going to have to be whatever you decide, but are you going to have the trivia nights, and are you going to have the little things that bring the community in, not just the big ones, but just the little pop-ups that bring in people on a day-to-day basis sort of thing? And are you going to extend your baseline of events to include like Food Truck Fridays and things like that? So that on that hand. Also, the newsletter that you used to send out with the water bill, I honestly believe that if you could bring that back, that would be a great form of support to the event committee. If you have socials of some sort, events, you can put those out, because I was in Bogart the other day, and they actually have their own little event committee leaflet, newsletter, but they actually give them out to their local businesses. So they're there so people can pick them up, whether they're from Statham or not. So even if you put them out and put them in the water bill, but then had your local vendors, police department, so forth, with these things in their offices, people could actually come up and pull them and see what was going on. So a thought process there. But then the other thought I was having is, do we have somebody who actually goes out to these other communities and sell Statham as a place to come to live, to open a business, that sort of thing? Because I'm not aware of anybody who does that. So I was just wondering, is there somebody who is that I'm not aware of that does that? And that's it. Oh, and I would like also to say something to our committee event leader. It has been an absolute pleasure.
She's done a great job. Thank you.
She's wonderful.
I'll get those questions answered for you. Right now, I have not made any decisions. Okay?
Because it would be a shame to have worked for these 2 years to get it to this point and have Statham flourish in the way that we've watched the events, and then it disappear for,
Well, that's not going to happen. We put too much work into that. As far as someone out selling the city, we don't have an economic development person per se on staff. But when I go out and I'm about in all the other organizations, I am selling Statham. So just for that, to answer that question, I am your ambassador outside of city.
There was more to it. There was more where we could be bringing in more. Because we have several places in Statham actually now that are up for rent, but nobody's moving into them. And I was just wondering.
We do have an economic development person for Barrow County. So that's the only answer that I have for that.
Next mayor is Kurt Bogenreiter.
Good evening, council and mayor. I guess this issue, I think, is just more or less a formality, particularly considering that I've already talked to the Public Works Director about it. But anyways, I live at 1969 Broad Street. My next door neighbor lives at 1975. And we have a tree that's at the back of the property, at the back of the alleyway, that's severely degraded and in need of removal. I contacted the next door neighbor, and they, I guess, got 2 contractors to come out and take a look at the tree, and both contractors told them that the tree was on city property. So anyways, I just have a couple pictures of that tree here. That's, again, this is probably a formality coming before the city council, but I figured I'd do it just to cover the bases. So anyways, I know Brett is working on it, and is gonna work with me on, I guess, having the city remove the tree. Anyways, that's basically all I have to say. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kurt.
And last we have Jason Black.
I touched it. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jason Black. My address is 881 Jackson Trail Road, Jefferson, Georgia. And I just wanted to take an opportunity tonight. So for those that don't know, I announced September of this year, I'm running for District 47 State Senate, which, as a Republican, encompasses the city of Statham. I've had an opportunity. I came and participated in the Sunflower Festival for a bit and had an opportunity to visit with a few of you guys, as well as making my way around town. But wanted to just take an opportunity tonight, now that campaigning season has kind of slowed down with the holidays, to come before you all to introduce myself. A little bit about myself. I've lived in Jackson County for 22 years. I was a police officer for 14. Most of that career was with the City of Commerce, and then finished my career out at the Bexar County District Attorney's Office while I was in law school. Had a midlife crisis. Mr. Campbell's familiar with that, and instead of buying a sports car, I decided to get some student loans and go to law school. And currently have my own practice, where I have an office in Jefferson and an office in Peachtree Corners. So excited to be running for state senate. We've hit the ground running, and we're having a lot of success. It's my hope that I'll win the primary in May and be able to forge relationships with you guys and work with you guys to take whatever it is, the needs of City of Statham, to the state legislature to best help you guys. So I will get you guys some cards and be happy to meet with you guys individually. I'm definitely interested in hearing local issues. I'm a true believer in governing from the bottom up and not from the top down. And so I think it's important to hear from local leaders and people in the communities what issues are affecting you guys, so that way when we bring legislation to the Capitol, that it's suited for the district, and knowing what the local issues are. So I thank you guys for your time. I will definitely be in and around Statham over the next 5-6 months, and even after that, of course. But if you see me in town, I just want to make sure that you guys have a name with the face. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
All right. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, come on.
Hello, Council. My name is Naomi George. I am the Chief Court Clerk for Statham, for the Municipal Court of Statham. I just had a quick question about the employee handbook, which I do adhere to. In Section 6, Paragraph 5E, regarding termination, it states an employee may be terminated with or without cause at any time. Can you please, if you do have an answer now, that without cause, what does that mean or entitle?
Georgia's an at-will state, and it means there does not have to be a reason for termination. Except unless the charter provides otherwise, all employees, and that's the case right now. Any employee can be terminated for any reason whatsoever, or no reason at all. Without cause literally means with no reason. Just layoff or something along those lines.
And if at that time that employee does not, I guess, agree to some extent with that without cause, is there some kind of hearing or a meeting that can take place?
If I'm not mistaken, there's an exit interview provided for in that section. I can't recall exactly where, but there is, I believe, a name clearing hearing opportunity. But that's not like it's not like you can appeal a ruling and get it overturned.
Like a grievance.
It just simply is a matter of the opportunity to say your piece and include that in an employment file for future employment purposes, references, and what have you. And as it relates to those subject matters, that's consistent with what we already have in place. That's not new and is not changing from the present policies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Naomi.
Yeah, thank you. There are no other speakers, Mayor.
No other? Okay. And I need to adjourn this meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Show of hands.
Yes.
This meeting is now adjourned.
See you, Lee.
All right, thanks.